So I'm finally back to normal. The glut of spring is kind of well and truly over. We're just filling the table nicely. This is just exactly what we need each week to feed the local family. So yeah, I thought I'd just go through the firsts and lasts in particular because yeah, there's quite a few lasts and a few firsts of summer. And I did just show, don't normally show all the herbs, but this is just like a little selection of the herbs from the herb garden. So yeah, quite a nice selection there. So I am well on now picking my second early potatoes, but they are small, much smaller than I expect. Now I am growing jazzy for the first time, and to be honest, I'm not impressed. Like Charlotte's tend to give me a harvest more like this, but say 2 or 3 times as much, rather than like that with loads and loads of tiddlers in it. So I think I'll probably stick with Charlotte next year. So this actually is the last here of the stored onions. They're still looking pretty good. I'm quite pleased with the quality of them. But I just picked the first batch here of new season onions. These are the tough ball, and these are all ready now for harvest now. I just haven't got around to picking them all. Really nice sizes, very happy with those. And these are the Lilia, and these are a 16-hour onion. So the tough balls start bulbing at 14 hours, which I think is the middle of April, and the Lilia start bulbing middle of May. So they're only, yeah, that's why they're so small, but they pretty quickly catch up. So these will be quite nice in a few weeks' time, and they're nice enough now. We are well on with the cauliflowers. I think we maybe got 2 more weeks of cauliflowers, and then we'll have a bit of a lull. Really, we don't want too many cauliflowers in summer. They're quite tricky to grow, take up a lot of space, but we will have some more for autumn. Got 1 more week of these Savoys, and then we'll be on to the red cabbages. But Savoys are absolutely gorgeous. Honestly, I wish I'd grown more Savoys because I really like them. I like red cabbages too, but it'll be quite nice to have a mix. Carrots, I am 1 harvest, I think, away from finishing last year's carrots, and then I'll be on to this year's carrots. So these were sown end of October, and then the quality is really nice, but I'm just looking forward to new season carrots. And these are new season beetroot. We've still actually got quite a lot of beetroot in store, but I just forgot to get some out. Maybe show that next week if I do a video. And these are the first rather, of the shallots, and they're rubbish, aren't they? Really rubbish. These are the ones that a lot of them went to seed. Anyway, we're taking them all out now because they're not going to grow anymore. But these are the sort of use now garlic. So the first few use now garlic. I think that size is reasonable. But we've got some double that size. So the ones on the allotment are twice the size of the ones in the kitchen garden. They've got a lot more sun, but I use a new method now for growing my garlic, and I'll talk about that in a separate video. And the size as a result of that method is really spot on. Broad beans, quite a lot of broad beans at the moment, but that's about as many as we can get through in a week, and we don't bother freezing them, and because we pretty much eat a fresh food diet all year round, so I just can't get bothered to freeze things. Peas, this is the last pick probably of the early peas, second early peas. First early peas have all gone now, and the main crop peas are just starting. So we've had peas for a long time, and I won't do any more peas after the main crops, which will last, I don't know, 3 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks, until autumn, because I get a bit fed up of peas now. Last of the spinach. Spinach not a great crop for summer. Chard is a great crop for summer and autumn and winter. So I don't really miss not having too much spinach. We've had so much spinach all the way through winter and spring. It's quite nice to finish with it. And yeah, plenty of courgettes still. I will be taking out my first early courgettes very soon, either this week or next week, to make room for other crops in the greenhouse. And hopefully by then the main crop courgettes will be kicking out fruits and they'll be sorted. Last of the turnips, and I'm not too bothered about that because I've actually got lots of these white beetroots, so they kind of provide a nice substitute. And I've got loads and loads and loads and loads of salad onions, and I'm really looking forward again to the new season ones. I think this is the last batch of really early ones, and the texture's just not as good as the new season ones, which are just much crispier. I mean, these aren't bad, I don't mind eating them, but they're not as good as they could be. Strawberries, plenty of strawberries, and again, just like a slightly sorry tail on the strawberries. They're okay, they're just not quite as sweet as the ones that have been ripening in the greenhouse and the polytunnel, which have been ripening in the heat, and it's so cold outside. These are ripening, but they're ripening in the cold, and as a result of that, sweetness isn't quite as good as it could be, but of course that'll be fixed in a week or so's time. Tomatoes, these are good, happy with those. There's a good number there. That is enough really to keep us going for eating fresh each week, and so I'm pretty happy with that. And just that's the number I need basically for the next few weeks until the main crops arrive. And cucumbers, I don't know, like I had a lot of cucumbers. We're now down to this sort of relatively feeble harvest. That's just because it's been cold in the greenhouse. I've actually put the heating on in the greenhouse for a few days, and I've got loads more cucumbers coming, so that's good. We're getting through a lot of beans. We probably picked 3 times as many as that this week, but obviously we're eating them as well, so that's the number that are left over. And lettuces are doing good. I'm very happy with those. I'll just make up lettuces as always, so that you can just see the whole sort of salad mix that we do each week. And that is it. I'm very happy really, harvest wise. Everything else is a bit of a challenge, but harvests are still lovely, and harvest volumes are spot on now. This is what we want each week of the year. So there we go. And if you're interested in more details of the firsts of harvests, I do log all the most important first harvests as they go along through the year, and I'll just put the details of those up at the side of the video so that you can see what we've been harvesting and when we've been harvesting it. And so if you want to know more about how I garden, then I've got a great little ebook. There's a link to that in the description down below. And I also have a weekly newsletter, which you can find at steverichards.substack.com. But you can also find a link to that down below as well. And that gives you all the details of what I do and when I do it and how I do it and all that sort of thing. So that's quite a nice resource. My name's Steve. This is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.